Hello! YouTube assures me I'm live, which means I'm probably not. But Mike's here tonight. After a night off, I've dragged him back in. So he will be telling me very, very, very soon whether I am indeed alive or not. But if you're already there in the chat, say hello. Oh, I can hear myself. That sounds good. My microphone reset itself again.
So did mine.
Yes, if anybody else plays around with the audio on their Mac, let me know if yours is doing the same, because mine's doing weird stuff. But hello. Ah, there you are. I can see you. So say hello. Hello, sweetie.
Hello.
And Graham. Hello. Thank you, Graham. It's been a good day. I need to get some kind of video going here, don't I, so they can see it's been a good day. Ooh, I know what we'll do. We'll put my new light on, which isn't the light he unboxed last week. Got another one. Can never have too much light. And I've moved away from the microphone. I've not dropped off my twig. Let me get these on the table.
I've set it to set.
Awesome. Well done. At least I managed to write that one. Right. Now, let me see how I'm going to actually get this to work. I'm about to show you something. Because we're pre-show and we can do whatever we like. Right. Well, yeah, whenever you like, but you don't have to worry about it at the moment.
Okay.
Well, now I've moved those, but I can't see everything.
So turn the light on.
Well, I've got that.
Oh.
Put the overhead one on.
Okay.
And yes, and then let me sort this out. I'm trying to get something that I can show you before Mike says what it is, which he won't, because Good boy. Good boy.
Storm.
Right, I need just to get this on the screen, and it doesn't let me use my commands. I've actually got to scale this manually, which is very distressing. Don't like to do anything manually these days. Right, there's that. Now I can do. Yep. You can just see that. Look at that. Right. Well, you can't see it yet, but you will do in a minute.
Who are they from?
I've no idea. Just a minute. They're not even seeing them yet.
Oh.
Right. I'm sharing my iMac screen.
Right.
So it should be with you in seconds. That's my desk at the moment. Obviously, I'm behind those, so I can't see much.
I wish us happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carl.
And Johnny I.
Hello, Johnny I. Got something for Johnny I to see as well. Where's that? Whee! Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you. Much appreciated. It got here in one piece.
So, who are those from?
Who are these from?
Yeah.
My secret admirer, obviously.
Who would that be?
I think it was you.
I think you're right.
It wasn't a secret then, was it?
No.
So there's
You know what, though?
What?
You know what I didn't tell you yesterday?
There we go. There's my roses. Look at these. Isn't he a good lad after 27 years, eh?
Get less for murder.
Thank you. Not impressed with that.
You nearly murdered me many times.
I do actually, yes. But
You
I
do
have
what?
I have refrained.
Yeah.
I've managed to contain myself.
No, yesterday. Yes, I'll tell the guys.
They're not pink. They're not pink, Jonathan. They're red. Honestly, they're a deep red. Look, red.
Is he saying they're pink?
Unless it was something else that was pink. Oh, yes, Jonathan. Jonathan, what's this? That was pink.
Yeah.
Alarmingly so. But look what he did, guys. Look what he did. Envelope. Whee! so chuffed when that arrived.
No, I was saying when I brought those in,
Yes.
I thought you might have known.
No.
Because I thought you might have had the security.
Oh yes, I've got.
trained on them.
Do you know we've not told? What have we told them that? I've got security cameras. I've got
No,
new
just a
security
few weeks
cameras.
ago.
I can't show you them at night because I've got them on the inside and the reflection doesn't work properly. But what I'll do is I'll take some video during the day and you'll be able to see the exterior of MacBites HQ. We've always had one in the front room because we've had Ollie Cam. For when our lovely little Jackapoo comes to stay. So I'm moving these out of the way now. Let's move them out of the way. There we
I
go.
wants to know if you got Brecky in bed.
No, I didn't get Brecky in bed because I don't really get up till lunchtime. Let's take that down so we can see that. Do you see that little baby light as well? Let me take that up again. That's the baby light, not the big one. That's the baby light.
We used to have Brekkie in bed
Hey.
with my grandparents, and it was just full of crumbs.
Way before my time, my mother would have murdered me for doing things like that. Did you used to do it, I think, when she was away? I did. But I'm very good, aren't I? I'm very good. Let's get that out of it. In fact, you know what? Let's leave that where it is and let's oh, heavens above. Right, I want that one.
Uploaded 180 gigs of data.
Oh, and your internet didn't die on you, didn't die a sad death.
186. I don't think you heard.
No.
I'm reading the chat, Graham, and I thought you said 186.
So you've moved from Mosey to Backblaze. Oh. The Baby Light was a bargain, Graham. The Baby Light was £14, I think. Carl, the cake's coming shortly. You won't be disappointed. The Baby Light was on offer, and at £14, I thought it was going to be absolute garbage. It didn't come on the tripod. The tripod's one of mine. But when I took it out of the packet, it had an adjustable ball head on it, and it's actually metal with a nice little control thing. Let me see if I can get the control thing and show you. Right, where's the... Oh, I'm juggling again. I'm juggling a million things. Right, here we go. Here's the camera. Let's move the camera towards it. So you can see the kind of light that it's giving off. Right, there's no other light on in here. But it comes with this, which has got 4 buttons on it. The blue one turns it on and off. So that's what it would be like in here normally. The lighting that we've got there is actually coming from the Mac. But turn that on. And it remembers what colour setting it was on. Now, there's 3 colour settings. There's an orangey one. Let's try and get that. See if you can see it. Yeah. Can't really tell. You can see the difference down here. It's kind of an orangey one. Then there's a much lighter one. And then there's a bright white one, which is the one that I've gone for. You've also got on that, let me get it the right way. You can dim it right down to that. And then take it right up as bright as it'll go. I would say as bright as it'll go is way bright. I did the teeth test. The teeth were day glow with it. Mind you, saved a fortune on bleaching rubbish. Don't like that kind of stuff. So that's what I've got. I'll find the link for it, Graham, and I'll let you know. I don't know what the normal price is, probably around the £20 mark. But I was surprised at the quality of it, that it was actually solid metal at the back. And with the ball head on it as well, you've got all the kind of adjustments that you'd want. The tripod it stood on was about £6. We got that tripod, and its twin is, we got 2 of them identical. They're the ones we took to Alveston with us to use with the microphones. Its twin now has the webcam on it. So the webcam's here on this, and what I can... Did I screw that on? I think I did. Right, I've got this where I can actually take it up and down. You can actually see it moving. So it's exactly the same as that one, but that was about £6. Surprisingly stable, considering if you look at the bottom of it, it's very small. And that head thing on it is actually quite big by comparison. But it's rock solid. So yes, can highly recommend that before we go any further. Right, let's get that out of the way, because that's covering up my chat, which isn't good because I can't chat. Right. Excellent. Okay. Let's get the running order up. The cake's coming, I promise. Heaven knows what state this presentation's in. I only just finished it. What can I say? It's been a busy day. Right. Let's get that up. Can you see that? I'm sure Mike will let me know that you can. I'm sure you can. I'm getting overly confident now. I'm sure you can. Right. Oh, action-packed show. Had ideas from people, had questions from people, so I've managed to incorporate most of that. But obviously the most important thing of the day is it's our anniversary. Yes, we've reminisced all day. More on our anniversary later. You're going to have to hang around till almost the end for that. But it's well worth hanging around for. There's photos, and I should have put some music on. I should put our story on.
So find it.
Whatever the song is for that. Yes, so photos. Because you wanted to see a photo of us when we first met. And there is one. I think that's the only photo. Well, it's the second only photo of me online. but it's not online yet, but it might be soon. So there you go. So you're going to want to hang around for that. In other news, this is what we've got. So there's been an update to Pixelmator Photo. If you weren't with me the other night, why not? I did a whole session on it, and there's a bit of an update to that. So that's a 2-second job. Then we've got Graham's piece on where he can get vector artwork. More importantly, what to do with it and how to do it well. Another question that I got was somebody's been doing screencasting and trying to export, and quality diabolical. So how do I export so it looks perfect? And that's what I'm going to be doing there. Then I've got a very short demo, but it's rather cool, of creating contact sheets. And then my Dropbox nightmare. Think shopping with Elaine on steroids for that one. But all good fun. All good fun. Now, at the moment, I can't see the chat. So the first thing I need to do is go in and see the chat, isn't it, Mike? Let's see if it'll let me. Because I was contemplating an iPad demo as well, wasn't I? Oh, that was the Dropbox nightmare. So, yes, I'll sort that out. My channel, it should tell me I'm going live, at which point I can get that up and then I can see the chat and etc. Ooh, there we go. Right, I can see it all now. Brilliant. Right, I'm assuming that oh goody was vector artwork. Oh, I've got some good ones in there. I have mined my own stuff for some of these, and there's one and it's my favourite. So I'll let you know when my favourite one pops up. Right, so first of all, Pixelmator Photo. Who's done the deed? Let me know in the chat. Who's bought it? Mike did. Yes, I was surprised. Hadn't got a Scooby's what to do with it. Hasn't even watched my session yet, but he will be tied down somewhere and made to watch it. He'll be made to suffer. With this one, trust me, it's made for you, Mike. You don't need any skill whatsoever.
That's why I bought it.
It was $3.99. It's now $4.99 because it's been released. It was $3.99 on pre-order. The session that I did is available on demand. So you will find that on YouTube. Can't go wrong. You could put the link in, couldn't you, Mike? If I was organised, I would have done that, but I told you it's been a very, very busy day. So that was where we were at with it, and I just explained what it would run on, and it was all those iPads. There's good news. There is very good news. In addition to those, Pixelmator have fiddled and probably bribed Apple in some kind of way. It now runs on the iPad mini, the latest iPad mini. Don't think it will run on the other ones, the older ones, because they are very old. But the iPad mini has a new chip. So the new one, it will run on. So if you've got one of those, you're going to be thrilled. It also runs on the latest iPad Air. Now, if you've not got the latest iPad Air, you might want to give it a try and see if it'll download, because there has been changes. So if you went in as soon as I said it's available for pre-order and it wouldn't work, give it a try. The link that I've got to get you to that is egiles.me/pixelmatorphoto. Give it a go and let us know if it works, if you've got one of those pieces of kit, or indeed an older one. And as I say, the video's available. Mike's put the link in the chat. It's on the YouTube channel. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. Right, so that was the update. I told you it was short and sweet, didn't I? Very short, very sweet. So, straight into Graham's question. I've done this in a slightly different way, Graham. A lot of people look for stock stuff and they're looking for the finished article. So I thought we'd start with uses for stock vectors. And I'd give you some examples of stuff I've actually done. Now, if there's any of this that you look at and think, hang on, how did you do that? Then I can extend that in a future show and actually take you through the whole process if you like. But I thought I'd start with presentations, and some of the stuff that I've mined. What I did was I looked at all my presentations and thought, which of these that you've done was based on stock stuff and which was based on stuff you've hand drawn, etc. And I picked out a whole section of a course. So unless you've taken this course, you won't have seen these. And they were all hand done by me. So I will show you those first. Right, that USB cable icon at the bottom is actually stock, and it's vector. Does any anybody recognise it? Do they know where it comes from? It's that bit there we're talking about, lower left-hand corner. That was a shape that I found not really when I was looking for USB. I thought, what I need here, I'm talking about the USB cables in relation to getting the best sound out of a Blue Yeti. So I wanted it to have a little logo at the bottom representing that. And I could have drawn it, but if you look at it, that would have taken a bit of time, wouldn't it? A little bit of time. But the main cable part of that actually came from Keynote. And all of the shapes in Keynote are vectors. So don't not think about getting stuff from Keynote for a start. And this is what I did with it. All the rest of this section of this course, this is a short course on the Blue Yeti, also relied on just simple vector shapes. Now, obviously, I always say with a presentation, if you can understand it without me, I've gone wrong. Because that's like giving you a presentation that's a list of bullet points and you read it yourself. You could be looking at that and if you're old enough thinking, British Rail. And if you're not old enough thinking, what's she on? But it's sort of British Rail, isn't it? Who's old enough to remember that? The point I was trying to make with this was that not all cables are made equal. So the symbol is not equal. I then expanded on that. In what way are they not equal? Some cables are thicker than others, and all of those are vector shapes, and that's how I've actually utilised them. I then carried on. That's a vector shape. The text bit's in the middle, but other than that, you've got the USB cable icon again, and you've got the frame of it. And I'm saying, once you plug it in, they are not all the same, and that thin cables don't necessarily give you the kind of quality that you would get with thicker cables. So they are vectors, and that's how I was using them. The other main thing I do with vectors is posters. I don't start... see, they're saying British Rail, they're as old as me. Oh, that's comforting. I do a lot of posters, obviously, for... I bet Jonathan wasn't thinking that. He's thinking we're on something. Somebody needs to go and find the logo and share it with poor Jonathan. When I'm making posters, I don't draw everything. I'll start with a concept, and then I'll be looking for vector artwork to support it. Now, you might say, why vectors? Why does it matter it's vector? 99% of it's vector, and it's scalable. So this is an example of one I did only a week or so ago. Now, if you want to see how that was actually put together, because it wasn't that colour when I started, I can assure you, and the text over the top of it, that was pastel shades when I started. And what I did with it was I adjusted blend modes in Affinity Designer to make it more bright and in your face, right? And then all I did was put text over the top. So it's a case of not going out looking for the piece of vector artwork that's complete. Go out and look for something that you can turn into what you want. Here's another example. All of those are vector dogs. The paw prints are vectors. They were all put together. Each one of those was a separate piece of artwork. The bone I drew and the text I drew, but the dogs came from stock vectors. This is another one. Now, this one does have a photo at the background, so that's not a vector at the very back. But the clothes on the line are, and they were literally just 3 shapes hung off another shape. So again, don't look for the finished article, look for the component parts and then put your own together. The first poster we actually designed as a poster was that one, a trolley dolly from hell, which if you remember that story, I'm still banned from that store. I knew with that one I wanted a trolley on it. But if you remember the story was about my smiley-faced coin getting stuck. Well, there you go. There's the 2 parts of the story pulled together, put on top of, a photograph, all the colour taken out of it, with the show on top of it. Now, Graham in particular mentioned the sheep. Now, obviously, they're not sheep, they're goats. But I was looking for something with a mountain on it, and it would have been fairly plain. And MacBites isn't plain, you know that. MacBites needs to be quirky. Which was when I found the goat. closely followed by the penguin. Thought, got to have those in there. I absolutely adored their little faces. Which meant when I came to do another poster, I knew exactly the style that I was looking for. And it was to match that one. And if you look at the sheep in this one, they match completely. I got them from a stock site, but I could just as simply draw them if I wanted. If you actually look at the shape they are, it's just circles. It's basically circles with feet and ears on it. That one I actually did a lot more with. I drew the road on it, I put the line up the middle, I changed the van. The van did come from stock images, but I changed it. I put the sun on it and I changed the background. But ultimately, I go out and I'm looking for something that matches the show. The other big area that I use vectors for is printables. Now, rather than just show you the raw image of this, I've actually got the printable printed out where it was going to be, which was on Mother's Day. That's our parish centre. And on Mother's Day, Mike and the boys did tea for all the ladies. And we wanted to put a place card on every table. So we were in there at alarmingly stupid o'clock. I mean, it was the wrong side of 8:30 for crying out loud, and I don't do mornings. But we laid all of those out, and that was a printable. It did not start life looking anything like that. And again, if you want me to take you through the process of how I actually created it, let me know. Let me know. But it was very effective, as were the biscuits. They were very effective, keeping the kids quiet as well. And we got lots of comments about them. Lots of comments saying they thought that was a really nice touch. Of course, Mike had to tidy up when he was done. He got to do the vacking up. Another thing that I did with stock imagery was this. It's a poster for our summer concert. I've done two versions of it, one with all the details, one without. But the bit in the middle, with the green background and all of the flowers on it, came from stock imagery. The rest didn't. The text I put on it, the roof fund logo. Yes, we're still paying the roof fund off, don't ask. We owe £183,000. It's a big roof, what can I say? So we do a lot of this fundraising stuff, and I drew that logo, but the rest of it, all the flowers and stuff, is stock imagery. It looked nothing like that when I got hold of it. It was just a concept in my mind that might work for what we wanted for this. So they were just ideas of what you can use it for, that you don't have to look for the finished product. Good place to start, particularly if you want them in presentations like I do, is don't forget Keynote. It's actually very capable. From basic shapes like that are included. Now, they didn't used to be great, I'll grant you. There was only a handful of them, and you needed to understand how to edit them to do anything with them at all. But now they're way better. There's a whole better, bigger range of them. So don't not think about that. That one is just a shape from Keynote. I've only changed two things with it. I've changed the opacity and the size. And now somebody would charge a couple of £100 for making that for you. Honestly, they would. And you can do it yourself, and it's vector. So it can be scaled as much as you like. It doesn't cost you anything either. It comes inside Keynote and it's free. I created for Photoshop, Pixelmator Photo, these slides, 3 of them. And all I used there was the shapes that I've talked about. There's a plaster shape, there's a scissors shape, and that's a database shape. And I just dragged up, scale them however I wanted to. In fact, it can even get easier than that. What could you make out of 2 rectangles that would be instantly recognisable as something genuine? I don't mean, oh, yes, Elaine, it's 2 rectangles. I mean something instantly recognisable. Even Mike could draw this. Couldn't you, Mike?
Could I?
Have a look what it is.
Yes.
Yes, Mike could draw this. Right, that was from a presentation where I was talking about places I'd worked. And guess where I've worked? I've worked in France. And I thought, well, I could go around and I could try and get a map of France. And I thought, do you know what? Just keep it simple. That came up on the screen and instantly people were comfortable. They knew exactly what I was talking about. That took no effort whatsoever. Other things that I've got from Keynote were things that represented 3 phases. So all that's on there is 3 little shapes. And as I move 3, step 1, 2 and 3, so 1, 2 and 3, they change colour. Simple as that. They're vector. So that's another thing that I use them for. I've used 3 lines. So at the end of this process, these 3 phases I'm talking about, is that the journey's end? And I did that with just 3 lines. So it's a matter with vector. I'm going to show you where to get them from and how to edit them. But it's a matter of thinking what you could do with it. And they don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be as simple as I've done them either. All of what you're about to see now was done in Keynote with basic shapes, which is that one. And I don't profess to be an artist. But all of that was done in Keynote with the Keynote vector shapes, with some gradients on it, admittedly. But other than that, it was just a matter of dragging them on and scaling them. So not the best artistic thing, maybe, but better than a lot of slides you see, and done completely free of charge, straight from Keynote. Now, the next one is my absolute favourite. This was from a vector stock site. What I did with it was I rotated it so it was slightly skew, as you can see. Now, you might think, Elaine, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Because now it looks cockeyed. There's a space on the right-hand side, and it would have been nicer if it was straighter and you'd evened it up a bit. Oh, no, no, no. This was from a presentation, again, where I was talking about my time working as a lawyer. Jonathan will appreciate this. I asked for a couple of hours off to attend a funeral. My boss was highly suspicious, but I got the time off anyway. Seriously, though, not before I had been given the 3rd degree. I gets to the funeral, admittedly, it was the 3rd week in December, but it was a farce. If I tell you the hearse got stuck in a ditch, you'll have an idea of what I mean. That was before the coffin even arrived. Now, as bad as the funeral had started, surely it couldn't get any worse. And that was the question that I put in this presentation. Surely it couldn't get any worse. Which was when I pressed the button and did that. It did. I was at the graveside and I glanced up, and there was my boss bobbing up from behind a headstone, making sure I was where I said I was going to be. Don't know where he thought I would be. So I did that with 2 vectors. I had a vector of the 2 headstones and another vector of Zebedee. And all I did in Keynote, I broke my own rule about animations and transitions. That's an animation. I thought it needed to bounce up and down because that's what my boss was doing. So when you're thinking about vectors as well, don't just think about them as static vectors. And everything that you've seen there, you could have done in PowerPoint as well. PowerPoint actually has far more shapes than Keynote. I'm going to show you later. We're going to come on to something later. I will try and remind myself to let you know that I did it with a shape from PowerPoint and brought it into Keynote because it's a shape that Keynote doesn't have. So I use PowerPoint as a source of vectors. Instead of going searching the web, I know that PowerPoint has an extensive collection of vectors, and I go there because I know I'm going to find it. No time wasted. So I utilise Keynote and PowerPoint as a source of vectors. The key to using vectors effectively is to make stock vectors your own. This is a stock vector. And they are vectors. So each element there is grouped together and they're separate shapes. I glanced at that and I thought, that's exactly what I need. But what did I do with it? Oh, you saw it the other night. I did that with it. I could have drawn that myself. I thought, do you know what? It's going to be faster to just get a stock vector. And I did. And that's what I used it for. So let's actually have a look at where I got these things from. The best place to start is FreePic, because that tends to be all graphics, all vectors. The example I gave was this one, and I just actually downloaded that from there. But let me show you. So we'll come out at that one, and let me show you how I actually went about finding that. I've no idea why you didn't know about FreePic, Mag. Is that a trick question?
No, I'll add it to my phone.
Right, okay, I'll go up there and put in a FreePic. Here we go. Right, the one, I've actually got that over here. What am I doing? What's happening? It's doing weird things. Okay, where's my vector and why are you doing that? Oh, I see what's going on. It's all right, it's me. I thought I had that open, and I do somewhere. The one that I actually used. But I'll put in, and there it is, puzzle background. Bang in the middle. Oh, dear, dear me. Right. So let's go and have a look at that one. Right, it's a simple matter here. I'm not logged in or anything. I've just gone and found that and thought, that'll work nicely. That's what I want. And all I need to do is download it. Now, you get this. Obviously, they want you to upgrade to a premium download. If you're not going to do that, you're going to use the free download, then they do look for attribution. So this bit here lets you copy that link, and then you can download it. Okay, so it downloads it at the bottom there. I click on that, it will unzip it, and what I get is this. So I get the license for the free version, which has got in there that copy the code, and you can put the code in. It's also got the license for the premium version. Then it's got two versions of the image. It's got a JPEG, which would be very tricky to edit, and it's got an Adobe Illustrator file. Now, you can open Adobe Illustrator files in Adobe Illustrator, obviously, but you can also open them in Affinity Designer. So let's do that one and open it up in Affinity Designer. Now, the one thing that's mildly annoying but can be got round. No, don't open whatever's recovered, never mind. Oh, you shouldn't be seeing that one. Naughty, naughty. That was something I was working on. Never mind about it. It'll be coming up later. Wasn't that you shouldn't see it? You shouldn't see it at that point, but never mind. I'll shut it down. Right. So this is the file that you get. Now, the annoying thing is it's on a layer. And Affinity Designer does support layers, but it also supports artboards and groups. And what I tend to do is not bother with layers. So when I open artwork in here and I start scrolling, every single element, oh, it's so annoying, is all in there. And if you try moving one, it's going to move everything else. Oh, it's horrible, horrible, horrible. What I can do here, I want to lose this at the bottom where it says designed by. So I'm looking around there. That looks like it gets rid of that. Well, what I could do is group that and then toggle it off. Okay. So where's the rest of it? That looks like it's the shape. So hopefully they're all together. And if I do that, but not that one, perfect. So I've got these two groups that I will group together themselves and get rid of. So I've toggled off the watermark. I probably don't want this puzzle background bit either, where it actually says puzzle background that I'm trying to select. Right, got it. There they are. So that's how I work with these for the bits I don't want. What I'll do now is group that together. And we've also got some text here. Oh, we've got more text down the bottom. I thought we toggled all of that off. Looks like there's shadow on it. So I'll select those and group those. This is why working with stock vectors can be a pain. If you open this in Illustrator, it wouldn't be as painful, apart from the price. Obviously, Illustrator's not great, is it? So hopefully I've got that toggled off. I've got that toggled off. That was the puzzle background toggled off. Now, this bit here, if I toggle that off, that's the shadow. So it's also a good idea at this stage to start naming stuff if you're actually intending to use it. And somewhere, that bit, there's a background. So I used it in the presentation. Let's go and have a look at that in the presentation. I've got the text there, a fragmented app ecosystem. If you actually look, get close to the screen and really, really squint at it. The text comes from Keynote on a white background. The image is... I didn't bring it in as a vector. I think I brought it in... I might have brought it in as a PDF, probably, but it's not quite as sharp as that text. So I really need the white background. Otherwise, I'm going to be limited to having that grey background, and I don't really want a grey background. So if I toggle that off, that should be a white background. Just to make sure, if I go into my export, that doesn't look white, doesn't look transparent to me. Let me see if there's another bit somewhere. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. No, all of that's toggled off. So hopefully that's all right. Ah, that looks hopeful. That looks like it had another shadow on it. Ah, I know what's wrong with it. It's all right, it's me. Okay, so I've toggled those off. The next thing to do in here, I wanted this on a slide. My slides are always the same size, 1280 by 720. So I need to create an artboard. Now this is a designer thing. I'm just going to insert an artboard, and it's 800 pixels square. I need it to be 1280 by 720. Actually, I can afford to leave that at 800, and that way I don't have to crop anything. I can fiddle with it later. So that is my artboard there. Let's get that centered. Right. What I would tend to do with it at that point is start fiddling around and stretching it, etc. Oh, it's having a think now. Thought it was getting upset there. Right, so I can take this and I can start making it bigger. You'll notice that it's beach balling. And it does this when it's working with what is actually an Illustrator file. It's a pain. It's a major pain. You can see the time it's taking to have a think about it. Not really a workaround with that other than using Illustrator, but I didn't want to open it in Illustrator tonight because you'd be like, Elaine, what are you doing? That's £600. But this is the problem if you don't use Illustrator. This is also a problem with stock vectors, but you get the idea. Eventually it might finish with itself. On the other hand, it might not, but whether it does or not, all I did at that point was then export it. And I don't know if it's going to let me do anything else with that, or if it's just going to sit there and annoy me. Right, what I'll do is I will go back into here and I'll come out of the presentation and I'll actually show you. Can we do? We can. I'll bring the presentation on. Obviously, this screen's incredibly tiny, but you get the idea, right? What I've got in there, it's hanging off the side. So if I take that down, you can see how much of it was hanging off the side. I've put the little logo on it, and I've got the link in there because I have to give them credit. And then, if I move that, oh, it has got a little bit of a background on it, hasn't it? Thought I'd totally got rid of that. Unless I grouped it. Nope, I didn't. And then all I did was put the text on it. So I'm not using all of that as intended. I've stretched it, edited it, tweaked it a bit, changed the background on it, and then put some text on it. Now, that one was a very simple one. So let me get that out of the way because we'll be going back into that in a moment. Has it finished playing around? I think it has. But oh no, it's still thinking about it. Bless the poor thing. Now where have you gone? I think it's gone on strike. Where are you? Have you crashed? You wouldn't dare. You wouldn't dare. No, you haven't. Excellent. Right, it's back. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to go back into... now Mike knows about it. We have a question. Where's the question? Could you save as an Affinity Designer native file before working on it, save the beach balling? You could certainly save it as an Affinity Designer file. You'd still have issues with it just because... Let me show you. Let's bring it back. Right. You've got all of these shapes, all these curves. These are not smart shapes, they're curves. When they're curves, if I just double click on that, are you going to let me in? All these points, the more points you've got, and there are quite a few points on there if you look at that, all these points need to be recalculated every time you so much as breathe. And if you look at how many of them you've got, that's why it's slowing it down. That's the problem. A lot of the time in Affinity Designer, so let me get a new file. If I wanted to add something, so stars or anything, these are not curves. They might look like curves, but they're not curves. These are smart shapes, indicated by the fact they've got red handles on and you can edit them. So you can do all kinds of things with them. There you go. How very arty. They calculate far faster because they're smart shapes. They're not curves. What you can do is convert them to curves, at which point they lose their ability to be smart shapes, but you can now tweak it more than you could before. So now I can change it in that way. And doing that, eventually, that will slow the application down because they're not smart shapes anymore. You've made them into curves. That's what the problem is. It would improve if you did what I did, which was group them all together and then turn them off or delete them, the ones you don't need. It's just part of the job of working with stock vectors, because stock vectors tend to be made for Illustrator. Affinity Designer is fabulous, but it is slower with other file formats than it is its own file format built with native stuff, which is why it's good to be able to build your own native stuff, which I will show you as in the last demo in here. Right, but that was a very simple one in there. What I wanted to show you was some of these things are really good. If we have a look at that one, that would be a good one to use in a presentation for part 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. They look very effective and they're very easy to use. All you would need to do to use something like that is download it. I'll go for the free one again and open it up. Go into it over here, have a look what we've got. This time it's not an Illustrator file. This time it's an EPS, which is an encrypted PostScript format. Still got exactly the same problems if you were open it in Affinity Designer, that it's got lots and lots of, well, it's got a layer, and then within it, each option is completely separate. But luckily with this one, I'm just looking at those gradients. They're appalling, aren't they? That's bad. That's really bad. Oh, now I've got a hole in it. So you get the idea for the problems you're having with stuff like this. This is why you need to be comfortable editing it. Now it's starting to look decent. We don't particularly need all of this. So I'm actually deleting it, and that's a good way to work. If you don't need this kind of stuff, if you just want to put this on slides or use it elsewhere, then get rid of it. Actually get rid of it. And each letter here, they're not editable. They are all curves. So you can imagine how many faux layers you've got, how many items you've got. There's just far, far too many of them. What would be a good thing to do is to do what I'm doing now, which is just go down. Now, be very careful as you go down which ones you're actually deleting. You don't want to be deleting the shadow and the edges of it. But all of these letters, absolutely all of these can go. Because I would put text on them and I would make the text editable. So I would actually lose some of this. The only exception for me to that, and actually that file will come in very handy to demonstrate that to you. But if I do that and I can carry on deleting all of these, I will end up with a file that's incredibly manageable. I won't have to worry about it misbehaving and beach balling for hours on end because I'm deleting all of these curves. I'm deleting them in batches, but you can see them disappearing. So that will make the file far more manageable. The only exception I have in my own workflow to doing things like that, I like to maintain editability over everything else, except where the font, I'm likely not to have it on another machine. And then I want to maintain the look of it over the editability. So I'm going to go and open that file, the one that said you're stuffed, that used to say terminal free. What I did was I had a file called terminal free, which is this one up here. And I use it in my YouTube videos. But today I needed a sign that said you're stuffed. You're wondering why, aren't you? It's all right, it's coming up shortly. And what I do is, you'll see that it has two artboards. One says notes and one says you're stuffed. They are both 1280 by 720. This text down here is not editable. This text up here is. So it's showing me in here that this text is a font called Stencil Standard. But down here, that's not editable. And that's how I keep my text editable. So if you think about today, as I'm thinking, I need a slide that says you're stuffed on it. I thought I'll use that terminal one. So I opened the file, saved a copy, took this text from the top, edited it, got rid of the terminal free text and moved that you're stuffed down into it. And then I could export it. So I renamed it. So I've got that bit there to edit and I edited it and exported it. So in this circumstance, they're shapes, they're curves. But other than that, my text would be editable. That would be why. because you can see in here, this is going to take you probably 10-15 minutes to tidy it up. Just keep deleting stuff, deleting stuff, deleting stuff. What you'll end up with, hopefully, eventually, when you've got it all, you will then be able to use and put your own text in it. So I'm assuming that's the last bit. Hallelujah. Right. So what I've got there, I can put my own text over this and I can put my number in there, and then I can actually export it. I would export it by selecting all of the shapes, making sure I've got all of those, and put an artboard in it, draw around it. So selection, insert artboard. And now I've got an artboard. You're wondering where the rest went. They are there, but they're now hanging off the artboard, and that didn't do a great job with the artboard either. And then I would export that from there. So you can see stock vectors are great, but they're not always easy to work with in terms of the finished product. Very often they're not. Now you know why it takes me so long to put a MacBites poster together. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you in here, in FreePick, is not everything is free. I know that's strange, because it says FreePick. But no, not everything in here is free. Now, how you tell the difference is the crown icon. So this one here, infographic set, has the crown icon on it. This one over here has the crown icon on it. As you go down, what else has? Oh, the lion has, and that one does. So there's quite a few have the crown icon on them. And one of the ones I wanted to use had the crown icon. Now you can buy them. So if we click on one of these, like that one, you can buy them, but you have to go premium to do it. So we'll be looking at what we do about that later. I'm just having a look, see if I can find the one that I'm looking for. And true to form, I can't. But it's in there somewhere. It's sort of like that one. But it'll be there somewhere. So just to be aware that this isn't all free, but I still use it, even if the bit that I'm looking at isn't free. And I'll explain later why I do that. But just be aware of that when you're looking through them. Some are free, some aren't free. Obviously, a big kit like that one is actually free, but the other one that we saw, that wasn't free. So sometimes it doesn't make sense as to which ones are free and which ones aren't. Most of those are on that page, aren't they? What will happen is it's when you start looking for them. So if I put infographic, that doesn't have two C's, if I could spell, there we go. So I looked at something like that one there and thought that's quite interesting, like that one. And then it gives you some at the bottom that you might like to use instead. And that's where you have to be careful. Some of these may well be premium ones. I mean, you can tell from the quality of them, like this one over here. There's a lot in it. So that took a lot of work. They seem to be the ones that aren't free. And no, I can't find that one, but I'm liking the look of that one. Right, we'll leave that one there and come back to that shortly. Okay, so that's one place to start looking for them, and that's where I start. There are other sites that say free vectors and stuff like that, but the quality's not great, and the quality of those is pretty decent as long as you're prepared to edit them. Right, so where was my presentation? Let's get into the next one. The next one. Right, the next one is Envato Elements. Who's heard of Envato? Mike has. I've made a few courses for Envato. Envato Elements is their marketplace. And I'll start off by saying it's not free. It's a subscription service, but the quality is absolutely fabulous. And if you create an account, they do give you access to a small collection of the premium assets for free. So let's have a look what you get with Envato Elements. As I say, this is one of my favourites. It's the one I start with, to be honest, because I know with this one, people have got to pay a subscription. So I'm like, if whatever I find, anybody else can use it as well, and I don't want to use hackneyed stuff. But the quality of them is amazing, and some of these you're going to see shortly. Hold on to that one and that one for a start. it's a good place for me to start because there's a good chance no one else will have used that graphic. When I use other services that are completely free, I often find people have used exactly the same graphic, and that's not great if I can get away with it. So let's have a look in here for stuff that I've looked for in the past. So let's have a look for, Mike challenged me and said a database. So if I put in database, you get photographs, you get graphics, and the graphics tend to be vector. You also get stock video, graphic templates, WordPress files, presentations, whole presentations, hundreds of slides. Literally, if I look at that keynote one there, it's a 3-in-1 bundle. You get all of these slides for free. So what I tend to do, if I'm looking for a slide that's like a timeline, so let's have a look at that one there. Where's that timeline one gone? Which I was looking at. Over on that side. You were over on that side. I think you were. There's a timeline one there. There's another timeline one. All of those are included in that file. And that does not cost me anything above my subscription. Now, I take an annual subscription, and it includes all of their training courses as well. So for me, it's well worthwhile. Your mileage may vary, but again, just to point out that even if you think you want a vector file and then you can't find one, have a look in the presentations. You might find it in there. And you get a few of these for free with a free account. And you can see there's so much in here. There's videos, there's 3D, there's add-ons, there's sound effects, all kinds of stuff. But Mike said databases. So let's have a look under vector. So in the graphics, all of these are vectors. And one thing I said to Mike was when he was looking for this, and he said, there are none. There are none. I want a data. And I said, well, what does it look like? And he said, like a drum. If you look here at icon sets, look, there's a drum. You go into there, it's giving you the preview. That's the drum. So you can find what you're looking for, even though it says they're 48 pixels. Yes, but read what they are. It's an Illustrator file and they're scalable. So don't try scaling the PNG, but the Illustrator file is openable in Sketch or Affinity Designer, and it's scalable to whatever size you want. Now, what kind of things do I normally look for, Mike? Inspire me. No, well, cakes, yes, obviously. Very interested in cake. No, but paintbrushes and things. So paint. Let's see what it comes up with paint. Now, at the moment, although I've done a search, you'll see I'm still in the graphics. So the only thing it's bringing up is vectors. Now, you don't get to choose which ones are free. Look at that Amazon one. Have we seen that somewhere before? I'll leave that there. We have seen... I told you it was a pastel shade, didn't I? Didn't look like that when I'd finished with it. You get all of these, but you don't get to choose which ones are actually free. But it's still worth having a look at it. You might as well take what's free that's there. So that's another option that you've got there. That's the one I actually start with. Just to give you an idea, one of the things that I was looking at was a screen, and I didn't want it in graphics. I wanted to search all items for a screen. And it wasn't the kind of screen you would normally think about. It wasn't photos. It was actually screens for computers maybe that I wanted. So these are all editable. They can be used in smart objects and editable. Again, I've got all these presentation templates and all kinds of stuff. It's worth having a look. It's not cheap. It's at least £150 a year. But given the fact that you can go and look for one of these, let me try and pick one. Let's try stock video. Because what I was actually looking for was a screen on a camera. And it was a demo that I was going to do. So let's try camera screen. Camera screen. Show you exactly what I mean. That one there. That camera recording there. That's the video. And if I show you what that actually does, it's an overlay and it flashes record on and off. Right? And I can download that completely free of charge. If I go and look for that on Envato themselves, so Envato, Graphic, I think, is it Graphic River? Graphic River, I think, is there. That one there, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. This is where they pull their stock from. So you can buy these individually. So let's put that in. Might even be able to find exactly the same one. You never know. Oh, no, because this one will be a video, won't it? This will be a video. What's the video place called? Is it Video Hive? There's the video. All right, let's try doing that in there. They separate them out into individual things. And look at that. There it is. Exactly the same thing. $15. As I look down, they're going to be much more expensive. $23. I've seen these go up to $80. So one of these, there's another one, $13. Or that one, $23. One of these would cost me more than 3 months subscription, and that's why I subscribe. So just an idea for you. Just an idea, and you can get some freebies from there as well. Right, next one. Who's heard of Pixabay? You've gone very quiet in the chat. You possibly nodded off. Pixabay's Mike's favourite, I think. Now he got it unblocked at work. They thought it was eBay and blocked
No, they thought it was Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay, that's right. They thought it was Pirate Bay and blocked him. Bless him. But no, Pixabay is a great place. Pixabay is probably my second place that I go. It looks like any other search engine, but the quality is incredible. So if I put in here, let's try painting again. Let's try painting. Here we go. It's good. Oh, good. Graham's awake. That's jolly good. The quality is good. It's not like the poor stock imagery that you see. Now, you might think, yes, but I wanted vector. There are vectors in here as well. You've got images. You've got vector illustrations if you choose it. So you can limit your search to vectors on Pixabay. And look, he looks familiar, doesn't he? That's my penguin. So he might make an appearance on a MacBites poster in the future. You never know. So I think these sites, you go to them and you automatically assume they're photos, and they're not necessarily. So something like him here. Very simple to do. Just hit the free download. You do need an account if you want the vectors. But it's a completely free account. They don't bother you with anything. So choose the vector, choose download. And this time it's an SVG. So let's show it in the Finder. And let's open it up in Affinity Designer. And there he is. Now, it's on a layer like everything else, and there's quite a bit, but if you notice this time, it's nicely grouped together, whereas the others were horrible. They were difficult to work with, etc. What I would do with him is I would always put an artboard on it, because that's the way Affinity likes to work. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not using layers, so I would take all of those shapes, take them out of the layer, put them on the artboard, and lose the layer. Layers can be used for organisation, but as far as I'm concerned, I might as well put everything on the artboard, because that's what I'm going to be working with. Then I rename the artboard, so we'll call him Artist. And then I would export. When I export, because I don't need to do anything with that, if I want it like that, I'll take the tick out of there, making sure that Artist's got a tick in it, and I would say I either want it PNG or I want it PDF. But, big but. That isn't what I would be doing with Mr. Penguin, is it? Because I would probably, with the penguin, be using him on a MacBites poster. So I would group together the entire penguin. And I would then find my poster. So I'll do an open one, and I'll try and find it. It will be in poster set. Is it all one word? No, it's not. It's 2 words. So poster set, and in here, all the poster sets I've got. Right. I have no idea which ones these are. Oh, there's the old Razzle Dazzle. That'll do. We'll put a penguin on the old Razzle Dazzle. Right. I've been going through and I've been backfilling the posters. So there's the old Razzle Dazzle. Let's say for whatever the reason I want to add the penguin to that. I would just copy it. So remember, no editing. I've just grouped it together. That's it. And just paste it in place, which was exactly what I did with that fish. Why is there a fish on the old Razzle Dazzle? Who remembers the story of the old Razzle Dazzle? Now, again, you can see it's having a little think about it. That's probably the fish, to be honest. And then that's what I do. I build it up from there. Build it up from there. Let's have a look at that pen. That. Yeah, there was quite a bit in there, but that's where he came from. Well, she came from. That's definitely a lady. You can see all of those shapes. I did not sit here and draw all of those shapes. I didn't. So that's exactly the process that I go through, and all the artwork that I use with that is free. So it's that simple to get him in there. So Pixabay. Pixabay is your friend. While I'm here, there is another one called Stock Unlimited. Graham, are you making notes? Stock Unlimited. No. Oh, am I not logged in? Oh, that's not good, is it? That's not good at all. Oh, it should let me search, but I should probably log in, shouldn't I? You're going to let me log in. Oh, now you want my password, because I have to log out. It's a long story. I should probably have to log in, wouldn't I? What's the fastest way I've got to log in here, Mike? Let me get over here and see if I can do that. While it has a rare old think about it. Now it wants my master password.
I'll just chat with Carl.
I'm going to say, it's shocking, isn't it, when you've got to put your master password in as long as your left leg. Okay, master password's in. I'm in. Right, what I did with this was, again, this isn't free. This is, there's a plan. But every now and then they do the most amazing deal. And the deal I got was lifetime access for £39. $39, actually. So, this one's worth looking at. At the moment, there's a deal on it. It's $39 for 3 years. So whether they've done away with the lifetime ones that I'm on, I'm not sure. Mine says upgrade plan because I don't have access to the audio, but I do have access to everything else. Again, it actually looks so similar, doesn't it, to Pixabay? If you go back to the homepage of Pixabay, they look identical. But this one's a paid for one. Again, I use this. Sometimes I'm going to get a better image that's nearer what I'm looking for. So let me put in infographic because I know those are probably going to be vectors. So let's open that up. And I have actually used these a million times on various things. But again, I also edit them. So I try and make them customized to me as well. But you'll recognize these ones and these ones. They look very similar to the other sites that we've seen. This one's incredibly common. You see that virtually all over the place. So keep an eye out on Stock Unlimited. There's a few things for free up there, but not too many. That one I've used before. I had a blue background on it. I put a blue background on it. So some of these you might recognise from presentations that I've given, but I never just use them as is. He's a good one for Christmas, isn't he? Might have to use him. Might need him for Christmas. Okay. So there's that one as well. Right. What else was there? Ooh, one of my other favourites. PSD graphics, which makes it sound like they're Photoshop files that aren't vectors.
Another one of my favourites.
And another one of Mike's favourites. You'll recognise some of these, I swear you will. Right, so let's go to PSD graphics. PSD graphics. Now, these are all free, completely free. What it does is they tend to put one up every couple of days. So you've got the 11th of April there, you've got the 7th of April, the 4th of April, 1st of April. You are limited to, whatever they put up, but they've been doing it for such a long time. Use the search. So let's look for cloud service maybe. You'll get photographs, you'll get vectors, get all kinds of stuff, but you will find in here vectors. Now you've seen something similar to that on stuff I've done in the past. I didn't use the green one. There was a brown one and a blue one. And that was the one that I used. There's the blue one. But for cloud services, that's what I use. And sometimes if I find a business card and I think I like those clouds, but obviously it's a business card, it's vector. Just extract the clouds and use them in whatever way you like. So this one is a little bit more difficult to search because you can see it's bringing up all kinds of stuff. Whereas the other one, all of the others tend to work the same way, where you get tiny little thumbnails and you can zoom in and you can see exactly what you want. But I have used it. It does work well. One of the things that you've just seen on there, they've just done, and that's a really good one, actually. I like the spooky moon. Oh, we might have to do that. I might have to do one show on Halloween. Oh, God, no, it's Brexit. Oh, Halloween. Well, I mention the B word. Brexit will never happen, never in my lifetime. I have no idea what will happen, but not in my lifetime. So, yeah, I should definitely be using something like that. But you get the idea. You know, it's showing you other things that are similar. That rocket would have been nice, wouldn't it, on my keynote one? Yeah, I've used the online storage ones. Again, like I've said, you know, whatever it is you're looking for, don't poo-poo icon sets. Just squint at them and think, what would that look like if it was 10 times bigger? Oh, it's perfect. And use one from an icon set. So that's a really good one. I've used backgrounds on there. Graph paper, believe it or not. That one, you probably can't see it too well, but if I go in and click on the preview, that one. So it's actually downloading it now. That's the file, and it's absolutely huge. You can see the scale of it. All right. It is actually a black background graph paper. And all you need to do is save that from there. Now, obviously, that's a JPEG. But that's really just to show you the kind of thing that it can actually do. But a lot of them you can edit in their vectors. So there's that one as well, which is always good to know. Always good to know. Mike likes that one. I like that one because it's got some nice backgrounds in it that I can reuse from time to time. Right. Now, what I wanted to say was, if all else fails, you could use these vector files that you've seen as inspiration to make your own. And it's often nowhere near as difficult as you would think. Now, Mike looked at me and went, no, that's not happening. And I said, no, Mike, honestly, it's not that difficult. So let's have a look at, let's go back to this one. Now, let's have a look at that one. Now, I did this the other night. I actually did this and thought, how difficult is that? It wasn't difficult at all. What I did with it was I used one of the premium ones. So I'm looking through the premium ones, frantically trying to find the one that I actually used. And needless to say, it's escaping me. But it didn't look altogether unlike that one. I guess I could put in the search. Let's come out of here. I guess I could put in infographic, vector, and premium. And that way it will only show me the premium. And with a bit of luck, everybody keep everything crossed. Ooh, I'm lucky. There it is. I looked at that and I thought, I really like that. I really like that. And then I thought, it's premium one. And Mike looked and said, no, I can't draw that. Don't be ridiculous. It's not difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that out of the way onto my other screen and show you how in less than 2 minutes you can replicate that. It's really easy. So a new file, all my files that I make, 1280 by 720. I'll stick an artboard on it because I always have an artboard on it. And let's have a look at what we're actually looking at here. Well, there's a little drop shadow underneath it. And there's a sort of squarish, rectangular thing. And then there's a speech bubble over the top. But the trick with the speech bubble is, let's see if I can zoom in there. There we go, I'm zooming in. No, I don't want that. I want to see these. The thing that makes it tricky is it looks like all of it's hand-drawn because that's on a slope at the top. And there's shadow on it and all kinds of things. But even so, it's not difficult. So that's what we're trying to replicate. Let me drag and drop that in there as a reference. That's what we're looking for. So as long as we can see a couple of those, we're fine. And we'll work on this area here. Well, for a start, you've got smart shapes. So these are your smart shapes, but you've also got rounded rectangle. So that's a good start. Let's put the rounded rectangle in. I'm not overly concerned about sizes. I can always scale that later. But I noticed that the background's got slightly squarer corners, and that's what the red handle's for. I can do that. And you know enough about Affinity now that it's very easy to go get a colour. So now the background's sorted. Looking at that, that's a bit wider, I would say. And that's it for the background. I mean, whoa, it doesn't get any easier than that, does it? You just need to put some text on it. I mean, if you want me to put the text on it, I'll put the text on it. So go in there and put 01. 01, huge. And we don't want it that colour, do we? We'll have it white. And Ariel's so boring. Avenire's nice. And then make it much bigger. So there we go. I won't bother with the rest of the text, but it's that simple. Right. But then we need the speech bubble, and the speech bubble's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky because it's an odd shape. But don't forget your smart shapes. In there, you have a call-out rounded rectangle tool. Yeah, it's a speech bubble. So we'll draw that out. There we go. Now, obviously, huge problems. It looks nothing like it. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. It looks nothing like it. Because it's in the wrong place, it's the wrong size, it's not good. And then it's not, I mean, yes, I can do that, but it's not got the slopey top either. Well, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. First off, you can use these square handles to drag that across. You can also use them to move. So let's get it in about the right place. Like that, including that. So now it looks very similar. We're not going to worry about the fact it's hanging off the top at the moment. Looks very similar. I would say at the moment that needs to be squarer though. So we'll square that off. Starting to look like it though, isn't it? Right, what it does need is a drop shadow though. So let's have a look over here. Let's make that bigger and do a comparison. We're not aiming for absolutely perfect, but closer should be nice. So put an effect on it. Where's that just disappeared to? Where have you gone? Hello? Ah, it's there. It's on my third screen, not my second screen. Don't do that to me. Right, we need to put an outer shadow on it. So turn it on. Crank up the radius. You can see it hanging off at the top and the other side. And do the offset. So we've got it on the right side. And change the intensity if you want it to. So, matter of just moving these around until you get them in the right place. And setting that where you want it to be. So, where's it? No, it's very, very hanging off a lot, isn't it? The offset's crazy like that. Only it's, have you noticed? That's a custom one. Because it's offset only at the bottom. So they've cheated. I'm using an effect here. So I'll take it back in. So I've got a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. And I've not got it quite so dark. But you get the idea. Okay. I think that looks far nicer. Right. Now, problem I've got is the top of it. Not right at all. And that's easier to fix than you would imagine. This is a smart shape, isn't it? If I go into it, I got these handles. But that's changing all of them, and I don't want all of them to change. But if I right-click and I convert to curves, now I've got handles. Let me show you what you can do with that. Draw around those two handles, or select one, hold the Shift key down and select the second. So you've got the two on the left-hand side, and just pull down. And now it's got the kink in it. So I click away though, you'll see, yeah, and there's a kink and it's not good. Not a good look. But it's got handles on it. So just smooth out the problem. And now it looks perfect. So, very quickly, not much effort, not much skill, I've managed to take inspiration from this one over here and recreate it. And it is that simple. There's just 3 items there that I could group together and I could copy. And then go into that, go into that. That becomes number 2. Into there to select that, drag that down over there and make that one that colour. And you've got your own set. You've taken inspiration from vector artwork. That way you can make it suit whatever you need it to do. So basically, the last point to consider was take inspiration from what's out there. Don't if it doesn't quite match, it's not a problem. You can take inspiration from it and make your own, and it's really quick. What I would then do with that is then put that in my own library and try and remember that I'd made it. So you need a good system to track that. But apart from that, you're good to go. So that was just a little selection of the stuff that I use, where I go and how I use it. So hopefully that answers Graham's question. So let me know in the chat, Graham. Does that answer your question? Now, another question that I had. Love it when I get questions. This one was a really good one. This one was from a lady who wrote to me and said, right, okay, I've seen your screencasts and they look amazing. And I'm using the same software you are and mine look rubbish. Yes, this happens a lot. Now, I'm working on the principle here that everybody uses different software and that what you've put into your recording is right. And what I mean when I say that is that you're not recording at the wrong ratio and trying to stretch it. I'm assuming that as you look at it on the timeline, which is what this lady said, it looks okay, looks great. On the timeline in the editor, why is it not coming out that way? Well, here you go. I bet you think there's only one way to record the screen on a Mac, ScreenFlow, because everybody adores ScreenFlow, and ScreenFlow's great. It is. It's very good. But there's probably way more than you can imagine. ScreenFlow is the de facto standard. It just got that way, to be honest. But there's also Camtasia. And me, I have every screen recording app known to mankind on my Mac because I have 3 screens and I can only ever record one at a time. I have been known to record all 3 with 3 different apps at the same time. Camtasia is my number 1 choice, ScreenFlow is my number 2. But I also have ScreenFlick, and ScreenFlick's the most cost-effective alternative to the other 2, and it's incredibly capable. It's only $29. There's also a remote control where you can control it from your iPhone. It's pretty good. Another one is Screenium, which is only $49.99. That gets lots and lots of updates. So if Camtasia is a little bit too expensive for you, and Camtasia and ScreenFlow a little bit too expensive, don't poo-poo these other alternatives. They're not bad at all. Another one is Capto, which used to have another name. Voila is what it was. It's now called Capto. It's not quite as powerful as the others, but it does have a built-in editor. There's iShowU Instant. I have a love-hate relationship with iShowU. It's a long story I will save for another night. But it's cost-effective. It's £24 for the standard one and $58 for the advanced. So it's, from that perspective, it's not bad at all. Snagit can do video. And Snagit's only $49, $29 for an update. The thing is, I'm going through these apps, and what you should be thinking is, how do you get the stuff out of these? What does it give you? It's like, I've got an Excel file. But I don't have an Excel file in Numbers. Do I have a Numbers file? So all of these are creating their own proprietary formats. QuickTime's not. QuickTime makes QuickTime files that can record your screen. Another way to get video is Keynote. You can export Keynote as video. But what's different about all of these files that you will end up with? What isn't? They'll be in different formats. There'll be different file sizes. They'll use different codecs. Back to the original question, the visual quality, very different. The time to export, well, that'll extend between I could have a quick snack to I could eat an 8-course meal. Honestly, they're that different. Ultimately, what you want is a decent quality MP4. It's as simple as that. Only it's not, is it? Because of the way the applications work, you've got all these differences. It's not great. But there is a way to do it. This is the way that I do it. I just use Handbrake. Now, you may be familiar with Handbrake. You might think, Handbrake? I rip DVDs with that. Maybe you do. But my main use of it is to process video. Now, your initial thought, if you do this, you have ever done this, will be, why are you doing that? Because this is what I do. No matter where it comes from, I export in the best quality I can get. And then I throw it into Handbrake. And Handbrake makes me an MP4. And it's a consistent MP4. I know what file size it will be, give or take, depending on the length and content. It never surprises me by being 17 times the size it should be, ever. This is how I do it. On the left, whatever comes out at the best quality the app can provide, I'm hoping will be ProRes, right? So the app on the left produces a high quality file. The file codec that I would prefer is ProRes. I put the ProRes into Handbrake, and Handbrake makes the MP4. It sounds simple, doesn't it? And in Handbrake, when I say you throw the file in, you literally just throw the file in. It has a whole range of settings there. Summary, dimensions, filters, video, audio, subtitles, you name it. Anybody guess what that image is, by the way? If you're with me live, what's that behind it? Be careful. But the beauty of Handbrake is it comes with a range of presets, and those presets give you a good compromise between file size and video quality. You can also make custom ones yourself, which I have done. What I'm tending to do at the moment is stick to either the general or the web though. So let's have a look at just how easy that is to do. Let's lose that. We've looked at that. Right, I had a video somewhere. Anybody had a guess as to what that is yet? Because that's the video I'm working on. Right, let's open Handbrake. And you've opened on the wrong screen, but I'll let you off. Right, here's the video that I'm dragging and dropping in. Now, it looks pixelated. Don't concern yourself. I've no idea what's wrong with it. No idea at all. But it's not pixelated when it plays because I've seen it. So it must just have frozen a bad spot. Right. It looks complicated, this, but you don't actually have to interfere with it in much way at all. From the presets, choose your preset. So if you wanted it 1080p at 60 frames a second, choose that one. You'll see down in the custom, I do have custom ones. I do have my 1080p at 60 frames and 30 frames and 720 at 30. I've got my iPod, now my iPod Touch, blimey. An iPhone and iPod Touch one, that's really low quality. I don't really use that one anymore. And I have a Skillshare Udemy one, which is what they prefer. And it works, basically. But you can quite happily work with these web ones. So if I choose that one there, you don't have to do anything else. So you don't have to understand this. Carl's twigged it was cake. It was cake. You see those bags that you can see there all pixelated? Cake. That's all I'm saying. Cake. You can go through and tweak it if you want, but the settings that you set in here are coming, or the settings that have been set in here are coming from the presets. So it's keeping an aspect ratio, it's keeping the size of 1920 by 1080. It's putting no, none of these filter stuff on it, although there's a decomb and whatever. I don't really take much notice, to be perfectly honest with you. I really don't. I know that they're going to produce something that's pretty reasonable, and I'm quite happy with that. There's no subtitles on this one, and there's no chapters in it. So really, it's the first sort of 5 that you look at. What you will see in here changes based on which preset you have selected up here. And you can tweak it, as I've said. And it's that simple. All you then need is to choose an output folder. Mine goes to my local documents purely because of the size of files that I process, into the processed folder. And then all you need to do is just start the encoding and off it goes. Now that one's not that long. I think that video is about 2 minutes 37. That was actually a MOV. It came straight off my iPhone, no edits whatsoever. Other files that I work with have been known to be 300 gig. That a 300 gig file will be something like a 2-hour demo of something using an iPad. And it'll kick out in ProRes and it'll be 300 gig. And I pass it through here, it will end up being around 300 meg. So I have a very good trade-off between quality and file size. The custom ones that I do make the files even smaller, but then they're not as compatible. But literally, Handbrake is your friend. So no matter what application I've recorded in, and I've told you there's times I'm using 3 and maybe a spare one as a backup. It has been known. There's been all other times I've forgotten to press record, but we won't talk about those. It's easily done, isn't it, Mike? He's nodding furiously. And then it will just process away. It gives you an idea how long it's going to take. So it's saying an ETA of just over 5 minutes. And it'll just carry on. And when it's finished, that's it. You'll get a ping to say I've finished. And that's it. You've then got that compatible file. And you've got a consistency irrespective of which application you use. So hopefully that has answered the lady's question. She can go away and try that now. So I shall leave that playing away nicely while we have a look at the next bit. Oh, you're going to like this one. I was impressed with this. I really was. We looked at Who to Spot. It was either last week or the week before.
Last week.
Was it? It was last week. Oh, well done, Mike. Well done. Oh, Graham's got a 300 gig file, 12 minutes from the film scanner. Oh, wow. Good job I'm not there. 2 hours. I'd have to learn to be far more succinct. Well, Who to Spot is amazing. Who to Spot is, we said, Spotlight on steroids. But it does more than that, as I've found this week. They've added 2 new features to it that are even better. But it's about finding your files. It's all about search. I'm stopping at that point. Who's seen those images before? That's where I got them from. Did edit them, though. Did edit. That didn't say search, it said something else. And I changed the entire ratio so it fitted on my slide and looked better. I also said I would tell you when I came to the bit with a PowerPoint bit in it. Right. The text, the blue text, so the white text, the blue text, and the camera icon all came from Keynote. But the little symbol behind indicating a file, it's not in Keynote, and it drives me mad on a regular basis. But that one is in PowerPoint, and that's where I got it from. So it has been known that I fly around between applications to get the shapes that I want. And that one came from PowerPoint. So these are the 2 specific tricks I'm going to show you today in Who to Spot. So let's go and have a look at Who to Spot. All right. I'm going to do a search first. Oh, it's opened up on the wrong screen. Got to love that. Right. Now, what I've done with this is I have actually created some files. So I can do a search and it will only bring back the files that I want it to bring back, which is they were called demo underscore and then a name. Now I'm going to find I've got like 3,000 of them, aren't I? There they all are. There they all are. These are my show art files, which I've opened on the wrong screen again. Oh, come on. Tell you what, I'll stop that there. Let's do that again. That's better. Right. So these are all my show art files. There we go. Now, first thing I want to do with them. If I go up to File, now actually in your search results, you can open them. You can open them with an app. You can share them using the share sheet on your system. You could tag them all. So if these were like a work in progress, you could tag them all. You can copy them, move them to the trash, reveal them in the Finder. If you've got Pathfinder or Forklift, and I've got both, you can open up in there. You can show the info. You can quick look them. You can even do a slideshow. So if you are, where was that poster and where is it? You can even do that, which it's cool. It's cool. It's handy. Liking that. But of more use to me was going to File and saving the results to a text file. This was the holy grail when Mike and I moved to a Mac. We just wanted a printout from the Finder. And honestly, you'd need a kidney and a liver to get that done. But if we just put here posters, it's that simple. Just save it. Right, I'm going to hide that and show you that what it's created is a CSV file, which I will open. Hopefully, it'll open in Numbers. Oh, have I not opened Numbers? Print out of files, but sometimes I want to print out of files. Come on, it shouldn't be too tricky for the Mac, and that's a very good way of doing it. Now, you might be wondering, what about the information? You know, why have you got those fields? Well, glad you asked. In Who to Spot, you can choose which columns you display. You can configure all of that. Not there. You can go into here and you can configure that. So you could put the tags on, for example. Whatever fields you have displayed in here is what you will see in the output. Oh, good grief, not only can it output it can output it with your own custom configuration. We're loving that here. We are loving it. At that point, I thought this can't really get any better. And then it did. Right. Because if you noticed, beginning of the thing, creating a contact sheet. Very simple. Command and P. Ooh, how good is that? Or am I just easily pleased? You can either choose all of them, or you can choose a selection. Now, you'll notice I had them all selected, but I didn't need to, because you can do that in here. You can have it as a list if you wanted to print that list, or you can have it as a contact sheet. We love the contact sheet. You can have it in portrait, or you can have it in landscape. That way they all fit on one page, but we'll have it that way. And you decide the number of rows. So if I take the number of rows down, obviously images get bigger. So I could just say 2 rows. There you go. You can put page numbers on it if you want. So let's toggle those on. Having a rare old think about it. Just down there at the bottom. I probably wouldn't put page numbers on because I can't configure where they're going. But if I were to do it in PDF Expert, I could. So I probably wouldn't have the page numbers on. So I'll take the page numbers off. Now it's hating me. It's hating me now because there's pages of these. I think there were 60 odd posters. So this is this PDF that it's previewing in here, and it is creating the preview. It's quite long now. But we want to see these posters in all their glory, don't we? Right, this is the print dialog. So you get an option to print and you get an option to save as a PDF. And should it ever stop spinning, because I've been upsetting it by changing all of those options willy-nilly, I wonder if it'd be faster if I just come out of it and go back in. Oh no, it's quite happy now. You can print or you can save as PDF. I shouldn't hover over that print button, should I? That upsets it as well. I'll try and get it to do a PDF. Right, so we'll put there, contact sheet. And save. The beauty of this contact sheet is by doing it by search, these don't need to be in the same folder or anything like that. For this demonstration, they actually are in the same location, but you don't need to worry about that. Right, it's having a think about it. It is producing quite a large file. Let's get rid of that. And there is the contact sheet, which will open up in PDF Expert, like I said. I'll do a fit page. And you've got the artwork, you've got the full name of it, you've got the size of it, and you've got the format of it. And you've got all of the pages of it, like that. I'm thinking, Mike, you know what it's reminding me of? Apple's coffee table book. The MacBites coffee table book.
Good idea.
What were they? About £3,000 a book? Ridiculous.
That was Johnny's idea.
That was Johnny's idea. Fabulous Johnny. So those were just 2 very quick tips in Whodaspot, but that's cool. I've not seen anything that's just that easy. You can go in and you can get apps and you can configure the life out of them, but that is just fast. That's what I want. Just want fast. And it works fantastically well. So I'm liking that. Right. Who knows what my Dropbox nightmare is? I'm not pleased with my Dropbox.
I do.
I know you do. That's because I vented.
Yeah.
All day did I vent.
Yeah.
All day did I vent. Right, this is something that happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now, the thing is, we've said this before, but Dropbox is one of those services, set it and forget it. I don't go in and look at my Dropbox every day. I don't actually use Dropbox as my primary cloud storage either. So it very much is for synchronizing applications. On the odd occasion, somebody wants to transfer me a file via Dropbox, we can do that as well. So I'll have the app installed and I'll enable it, because if I don't, then the Files app won't access it. But other than that, I don't use it on a daily basis in anger. It's synchronizing in the background, but I don't use it on a daily basis. So you can imagine my abject horror when this happened. If you're wondering what on earth that is and what I'm trying to focus you on, the bit at the top in red, that bit. What device limitation, I hear you think? Yes, me too, because I haven't had an email. I haven't had a notification on my devices. I have had nothing about this until I saw that. So I had a look round. Is there a limit to the number of devices? And I'm thinking, no, of course not. Never has been. Oh, good grief, there is. End of March. Well, they didn't run it past me. Now, I noticed with this, I'll mention it while we're actually looking at it, because it's devious, this. The free basic users have a 3-device limit. That's useless to me. Absolutely useless. The Plus and Professional users there's only 2 accounts for individuals, Plus and Professional. Can link more than 3 devices. Well, that sounds grand, doesn't it? How many? Well, more than 3, so it doesn't matter, does it? But business users can link unlimited devices, which says to me the Plus and Professional have a limit. But I can't find out what it is. Didn't like that. So, what do I do if I reach my device limit? Well, if you've already got more than 3 devices linked prior to March 2019, everything carries on as normal. So I thought, well, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Was that 3, Graham, for the Pro and Professional? I'm hoping not. I was thinking maybe 4. But it definitely, I think that what they're doing is reserving the right to put a limit on it. Whether there is a limit right at this second is completely unclear. But the problem I've got is if you get a new device, which for us is probably going to be a phone this year, to add that individual device, you've got to unlink all of the devices you currently have linked and take it down to less than 3, so basically 2. And then you can link the new devices. Guess what that thing was for? That design, that artwork I designed. That was what it was for. So I looked at that and thought, you are kidding me. And I thought, it's fine. You know what? It's fine. I can live without Dropbox. Google Drive is your friend. Google Drive. I was going to use a phrase there, but I won't. But let's just say it all over Dropbox. The collaboration, the comments, the sharing, it's fabulous. Don't need Dropbox. And then reality struck. I thought, just a minute. I might not think Dropbox is the bee's knees, but virtually every application you go in, so this one's Alfred, recommends using it to synchronise your settings. I'd love to switch to OneDrive. Well, actually, I'd love to switch to Google Drive, but it's not that simple. I did a bit of research. I thought, come on, it's only some configuration settings. They're really tiny, I thought. This is from the Alfred support page. Basically, no. iCloud, because of the way it works, it does its own thing, as we all know with iCloud, so it syncs when it feels like it, not when you want it to. It can take 20 minutes for something to sync, and that won't work for apps. Google Drive, I personally think would work. I'm going to try it. But what it's saying is Google Drive and Google Drive File Stream. Now, I'm assuming that you know the difference between those, but maybe you don't. Google Drive is the standard consumer-facing version of Google Drive. Google Drive File Stream is the G Suite version of Google Drive, which gives you pointer files and files on demand. And it's the one I've got, and I adore it. They're not recommended because depending on configuration, massive air quotes, the files aren't available when you start up. So Alfred will create another set of preferences and it'll look like your preferences aren't working. So basically, like I've said, you're stuffed. So I thought, fine, all right, Alfred, yeah. Because what I'm thinking is I've got 2 laptops and I've got 4 Macs in use. And never mind my data, I've got these things hooked up to apps I've forgotten I've got it hooked up to that are going to stop working the instant I have to add a new device, which was much more of a concern to me. Alfred instantly came to mind. So what I did was I logged into Dropbox on my machine, opened up my Dropbox folder, and I had a look, and I thought, how much of a pain in the backside is this going to be? That much of a pain in the backside. All of those are actively synchronizing with Dropbox their settings, their configurations. Some of them are going to be worse than others. Just so you're aware, from the top left, Typinator. That's my version of Text Expander. Can't be doing Text Expander. Doesn't work. Doesn't work for me. Doesn't like me. So I use Typinator. The expansions, of course, they need to synchronize across computers. The next one's Keyboard Maestro. If Keyboard Maestro isn't working, I'm convinced the Mac's broken. It's that bad. Post Haste is let me describe what that is. It makes a template for you. Basically, you create a template in terms of files and folders in a structure, and you go to Post Haste and say, make me a new one of those. And the data is stored in Dropbox. Alfred, you saw it. They recommend it. They don't recommend anything else. The next one's Quiver. That's a code base. Sublime Text. Whoa, that's complicated. That is complicated. I don't even want to go and revisit that. It's that complicated. Next one, Scrivener. Don't get me going on Scrivener. That's going to be a living nightmare for reasons I will explain. The next one's Codebox, then Forklift, Hazel, and File Renamer. File Name Mangler. Name Mangler, that's the one I'm looking for. Name Mangler, and I mangled its name. All of those have their settings in Dropbox, so all of my beautifully crafted systems are going to break. So I thought, Scrivener. That's a biggie. It doesn't synchronize with anything else. I mean, the rest of them don't synchronize with anything else, but Scrivener absolutely does not synchronize with anything else. So I had a look on their forum, which incidentally drives me insane on a regular basis, because when you search for anything on their forum, unless you take 20 minutes to read the page, when you try your second search, it times you out and has you wait 10 seconds, then 20 seconds. It drives me mad. So I had a look at that. And they've put on there, the problem, that's the limit. This was a reply. So the next bit is a reply from somebody in customer services, massive air quotes. I'll read it because it's tiny. Note that in the US at least, a Dropbox subscription is a tax-deductible business expense for self-employed writers. As we've explained repeatedly, our decision about which cloud services to support is driven in part by the developer tools available on the various platforms. Support for OneDrive is therefore not entirely under our control. If Dropbox or any other service, this is a good bit, if Dropbox or any other service is such a critical part of your workflow that being limited to only 3 devices poses a hardship, it might be time to evaluate your spending priorities. Woo! That's us told then, isn't it? I thought that was downright rude. Downright rude. Scrivener only offers one way to synchronize data with a cloud service, and that's Dropbox. The other way of which they speak, brace yourselves, is a cable and iTunes. When was the last time, seriously, tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat, when was the last time you synchronized anything via iCloud and a cable? iTunes and a cable? I swear it was a 30-pin cable the last time I did it. The other way is to manually transfer files, like it's the 90s, on a floppy disk. Only your iPad doesn't support floppy disks either. So I decided to go and have a look round. Okay, how much is this Dropbox thing going to cost me for it to all go away? I know they used to do a 250 gig option, and now they don't. Those prices are monthly. No, it costs more if they're monthly. They're the annual prices. So I had a quick look round. What I was looking at then was features. I don't need anything like 2 terabytes of storage or even 1 terabyte of storage. I do not need that at all. Nothing like. But if they offered me sort of 10 gig, 15 gig, I mean, at the minute I've got 16 gig that I've earned from referrals. That's enough. I'm fine. But I would pay for 50 as long as you charge me a reasonable amount. So I started looking at what the options were. The free one doesn't give you much, I'll grant you, but like I've said, I've earned 16 gig and I'm hanging on to it. The 1 terabyte option didn't include Smart Sync. I thought, you're kidding me. I don't know about you guys. I couldn't synchronize 1 terabyte of cloud storage to my desktop machine. I've got one that's got a 256 hard drive. I've got one that's got a 500 hard drive. There's no way. So I would have to manually sync. I'd have to do the selective sync thing. The 2 terabyte plan, that lets me have smart sync, which means I can see my files and they're on demand. So the price is doubling as we go. So I wasn't happy with that either. As I say, I would pay for more storage. A little bit more than I've got, as long as I could have as many devices as I wanted, because I'm not going to push through it too much through it because I haven't got that much storage and I don't need that amount of storage. So I had a quick look what was available. What were the alternatives? Google One came out pretty well, apart from the fact none of these are going to work with Scrivener. That was my main problem. They actually put the prices down in May 2018 and they've halved the price of the 2 terabyte tier. So I don't think those prices are bad at all. I would love to pay $1.99 a month for 100 gig to Dropbox. I'd even pay $2.99 for 200 gig, but I don't want to pay a tenner a month for storage I am never going to use. Now, as I've said, my Google Drive is not Google One. It's Google Drive, the official Google Drive. And that's my account at the moment. I pay £80 a year for 1 terabyte. But if I wanted 2 terabytes, it would cost me £16 a month. Just to go back to what the other prices were. So a lot more than the consumer-facing thing. I'm hopeful eventually it will go down. But at the moment, that's what I'm on. I would get 2 terabytes from Dropbox, but I'd be paying more than that. I don't really want to. Microsoft OneDrive is a good alternative. They had some really good deals, to be honest. $1.99 for 50 gig. You can get a basic free account with 5 gig. As a comparison to the price of Dropbox, you can actually get Office thrown in. Now, the prices that they're quoting there, $59.99 for personal and $79.99 for home, I only pay $49.99 a year. And I do that, I wait till the Black Friday sale at Amazon, and I sit poised like a praying mantis. And at least 2 to 3 days in the Black Friday and Christmas sales, there will be a boxed product of Office with a redemption code in it. And you can get it for £49. And they want me to pay how much more just for storage? They're deluded. They're deluded. Box was another one. Mike's a big Box aficionado. I've got a soft spot for Box. I got a 50 gig account with them for free, and I've had it ever since. The day we brought MacBites Siri home, which was the autumn of 2011. And it works great. Mike's got that at work and at home, and you actually synchronize it to your Mac, don't you?
Yeah.
So he's got the Box Sync client that synchronizes it and everything. But the thing with this is, when you look at the plans they offer, I thought, £4, that's not bad. And then I thought, hang on a minute. They really push you to business. There are individual plans there, but they really push you to business. So it worries me. Now, Carl's just said he uses pCloud. What do you like about pCloud, Carl? Because we haven't used pCloud up to now. And what plan are you on, if you don't mind sharing? Because I went to have a look, and this one, I couldn't find anybody who had a bad word to say about it, which makes you wonder, doesn't it? But that's the price per month for 2 terabytes. So it's less than half the Dropbox thing. But you see that big thing in the middle that says best value, lifetime. Wow. You'd have to have it for just over 3 years to make that cost effective. But I was quite tempted by that. And seeing as though Carl's got it, Carl can tell me if it's any good or not. Other people on the Scrivener forum are actually using this pCloud, and they forced Scrivener to work with it. They're doing some kind of magic sync in the background, basically. But I actually thought I wouldn't be averse to taking a lifetime deal on that. I would take it as the cost of a hard drive. You know, a 2 terabyte, a decent quality 2 terabyte SSD would cost me similar. but it's in the cloud and I could get to it anywhere. And it gets such good reviews, I'm interested. Now, I agree with Graham. Graham's saying the trouble is if they offered a lower tier, many people would downgrade and it would hit them. Well, it would, but they should have looked at that in the beginning, because there has to be a point that they're losing custom and goodwill and people referring other people to it and actually using it. I'm surprised Scrivener, instead of being nasty to people on the forum, haven't gone and tried to negotiate some kind of Scrivener-only deal with them, because I just don't want to pay it. Now, I'd heard about the security, Carl, because apparently 2015, they reincorporated in Switzerland and they have their servers located in secure places. I probably wouldn't need much more than the 500 at the moment. You saw I had about 300 on Google Drive. The thing is with Google Drive, I'm deliberately not putting more archive stuff up there because I don't really want to hit that 1 terabyte limit until the price comes down for the 2 terabyte one. But £320 for 2 terabytes, I could put my more archive stuff up there and it would give me the opportunity to have access to it on the road that I don't have now. So I am actually really tempted with it. And watch this space, and I might come back to that next week, having done it. So I wasn't pleased with Dropbox. I'm working on a workaround for Scrivener, which I'm going to demonstrate to you next week. I want to test it a little bit more first. I have found a workaround that does not involve cable bothering of any description. But I need to see that it's not as flaky as it looked tonight, but that could have been me. So I'm going to think about that for next week. So you heard it here first. But now, hey, it's our anniversary today. I think we're coming up to that time, Mike. I think we were back by now. I'll just say that. Yeah, because it's an unboxing of the week with a difference. Now, what Mike needs to tell me, pretty smartish to be honest, is whether you can actually hear the audio on this. And I don't know if you're going to be able to or not. I've hooked it up so you will, but that remains to be seen. So, we said cake, didn't we? Graham, brace yourself. As has become a tradition here at MacBites headquarters, we do an unboxing in the after hours. We also go and have something to eat. So this week, we thought we'd link the two. They've got no Apple logo, have they?
No.
But they are sexy toys. Ooh. Graham, that's what you call a cake, Graham. And just in case that isn't close enough, Mike, do us the honours. No, don't actually unbox them, but get them out. Show Graham what constitutes a cake up here. Oh, there you go, Graham. Now, what's that one called?
Profiterole something.
Profiterole something. There is said profiterole. You know what this needs, don't you, to finish it off nicely? I know this is centimetres, but it's definitely needed. That is a very tall cake. Yes, it's 22 to 3 centimetres, which is over 8 inches. Yeah, nearly 10 inches, that cake. I'll get you closer. Oh, I don't eat that stuff, though. Most unfortunate. However, oh, the pink one. Now, what's the pink one? Strawberry, raspberry
and white chocolate.
Raspberry and white chocolate. We need to do the size test on that as well, don't we, Graham? Oh, yes. Same size. Fabulous. I'm just going to luxuriate over that. So that's this week's extra unboxing, and Mike's about to tuck into that one, aren't you?
Yes, shortly.
Shortly. Making room first.
Yes.
Oh, yes. There we go. And there is this bag as well, but we're not going to talk about that one. What cake?
That's for tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow's cake?
Tomorrow.
Are you heading off with that cake now?
Yes.
You're reboxing the cake?
Yes.
Oh, no. He's taking it away.
Bye-bye, cake. Bye-bye, cake.
Bye-bye, cake.
Just send them to Graham.
Where's bye-bye to the cake? Okay, bye-bye, cake. How was that? We just say Mike enjoyed that cake.
Mike's enjoying it again.
Yes, but you can't taste it a second time, can you?
No.
But you can remember and you can luxuriate.
Bye-bye.
Right, so you all enjoyed the cake, did you? Thank you, Jonathan. Right, we promised you the story. I'll give you the story. Right, Mike and I met at Old Trafford. Sorry if you're not a red, but that was where we met. Mike, we put this in a presentation and Mike actually introduced this and he said, we met at Old Trafford in 1991. It was at a reserve match and he said, I kept going back for more. Let's just say boy was keener than girl. So, roll forward, 12th of April, 1992. United had reached the League Cup final at Wembley. Mike invited me to go. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I was a poor student and I'd gone to the game where I'd met Mike, the reserve match, but I'd just spent my last £10 on a Joseph Locke CD for my mother. Aren't I a good daughter? Aren't I a good daughter? So I went to the reserve match, but I wasn't queuing for a ticket to Wembley because I didn't have enough money. And guess what Mike did? He went off to get his and came back with 2. So we headed off to Wembley together. It was a good day. They won. They absolutely won. It was only 1-0, but it was a fabulous match. I hasten to add, we weren't actually sat next to each other, were we?
No.
Which was concerning, seeing as though I got next to this drunk guy from Rochdale, but never mind. But on the way home, he did the deed and he asked me out. And this is us on my 25th birthday, together. There we are. Not often you see me online, is it? Not often at all, but there we are, my 25th birthday, which was the 19th of May, so it's not long. And yes, there we were. So you're happy with that now, guys? You're happy with that? Don't we look sweet? Don't we look sweet? Mike's looking a bit dubious, to be honest.
What, now or then?
No, now. You look dubious now. You look quite happy then. So there we go. That was our story. Rumbelows, yes. What was funny about that day was the cup was presented by their employee of the year. So it wasn't the Queen or anybody.
Probably sold Carl a telly.
Yeah, probably the same lady that sold Carl the telly. Rumbelows has long since gone, and we've not won that cup in a while either, have we? But there you go. There we are, enjoying ourselves on my birthday. So we will be back next week on the 19th. This is getting to be a habit, isn't it? Whee! Mike hasn't changed a bit. No, he hasn't actually. No, his glasses are a little bit smaller, aren't they? I think that your glasses now suit you better, but no, you've not changed a bit. Neither have I, to be honest, she said. My hair's still curly like that, isn't it? Look. Yeah, and it's still the same length. So I thought you might recognise me, on the other hand you might not. Who knows? Who knows? But yes, that was us. So we'll be back on Friday. I may be venturing into this P-Cloud business. Got to find some way to do without Dropbox because I don't like that kind of behaviour. So I'll be trying all of these services. I've already ruled out 2 that don't work. So you know what's going to happen, don't you? I'm going to get snotty with Dropbox. Send them a letter. I want to give you money, I just don't want to give you too much. No, he doesn't look like someone who likes the Goombay dance band. Oh, he has moves to the Goombay dance band. We need a MacBites meetup with you Goombaying. With the Hoover. Henry the Hoover.
No, the air guitaring was enough.
Oh, yes, the air guitaring last week. Oh, yes. We have fun here, don't we? Don't we have fun? Got to love it. So, other than P-Cloud, I've no ideas for next week. Oh, now Carl had a good idea. But Carl needs to watch the show from the 25th of January first and then needs to come back and talk to me about it. Yet Carl wanted to know how we put a MacBites together. from the point of preparing it, even.
Do we prepare it?
Rumour has it we do. But then that takes me back to Scrivener, and then that takes me to Dropbox, and then I lose the will to live. That Dropbox is my Brexit. It's my technical Brexit, this. It's a nightmare. It's a
We should
disaster.
have been exiting today.
We should, actually.
Like you're exiting Dropbox today.
Yes, I'll be leaving Dropbox before we Brexit, I'll tell you that. So other than that, I need you to tell me, would you like to see us record a MacBites from sitting down and recording it?
Yes.
We could do that. Well, recording a show would be a step in the right direction, wouldn't it? We could do that. We could do that. Yeah, see, Carl wants that.
Right.
He wants that. If anybody else wants that, we could do a show live with the series. Series are asleep at the moment.
Just leave them to it.
We could just leave the series to it.
Leave the series to it and we'll go and get some cake.
Yeah, we're going to get another cake. We've now
And
cake.
eat it live in the studio.
Cake. That's a good point. I was just thinking about that. Cake. Well, obviously I was thinking about cake. Hang on a second. Somewhere, I had a tidy up. This is never good when I have a tidy up, is it? Oh, you see, Jonathan wants some MacBites as well. Where's my cloud thingy, doodah? That's what I want. My
We
inbox.
could do a live stream with that chocolate challenge.
Right. This is the cake, isn't it? This is the place we go. It's called Bramley Farm. And it looks, let me bring these on here. Here you go. It looks like that. Now, there may be one near you. You never know. The one near us is in Altrincham. There's another one at the no, not the JJB, what's it called? The AJ Bell. But that's garbage, don't go there. There's another one further out towards Worsley, which I've not been to. But this one, fabulous. Fabulous. So let's start at the top and work down. It's a carvery style restaurant. But they do lots of nice cakes, as you can see. That's the carvery bit. The carveries are amazing. In fact, it's so funny. They will let you take away a carvery. What you saw us with is called a cake away, but they'll actually let you take away a carvery, and the carvery's just got so much on it. It's unbelievable. That's the bar area. I've got these for a reason, in case you're wondering. I've just had to do a flyer for a meal we're having there. So it's a beautiful looking place. It's only been open a couple of months. That's the salad. I don't need the salad bar bit. Salad's very nice, but I don't like the ricey stuff. And that is the cake bit. That's the bit I'm looking for. So that's what those cakes look like in all their glory. And they cut you off probably about 2.5 inches. Yeah, 2.5 inches at the width end. So Mike, the pink one's not there. The pink one's not there. But that top one's a fudge cake, cheese fudge cake. There's one called a red velvet, which is the one in the middle. There's also one called a Mars Attack. Is that the one at the bottom in the middle? It's basically got a Mars bar on top of it as well. These things are a cardiac arrest on a plate, I'm telling you. There's the, what's that one? Carrot cake thing. Yeah, that is a Mars Attack in the middle. It says it is. And then there's that thing at the end. Yes, Jonathan, you need to go. Never mind La Familia in Hales. You need to get here. When you next visit family, go visit. Go visit. It's near the Waitrose. So you do have one. Now, what's your one called, Carl? I figured there must be one up there. We went to one near Preston. I think it's called the Flying Winger. Is it Goosenau? No, not. Yeah, not Goosenau. What was that place called where we buried Uncle Bob? I know the cemetery, but what's the place called?
Plumtree.
No, that's not. Oh, Plumtree Farm. Oh, you've got Plumtree Farm. What is that place? Is it Goosenau? Oh, it's escaping me. Yeah, they're probably all the same. Yeah, they're probably all the same. Oh, he's definitely going. No, Carl's is called the Water's Edge. Oh, that sounds nice. I'm liking that. Oh, I'm sensing a MacBites UK-wide tour. Now, they also do ice cream. As if that isn't enough, they will serve you a cake with 3 scoops of ice cream on the top. Told you, cardiac arrest on a plate. Are you in Lytham? Is it Lytham, near Lytham? We've been there. Love that. Should take the dog on the sand dunes. So they will serve that with the cake, believe it or not. Toffee fudge down at the front. And what's the one I have? Is it toffee fudge? No, it's not toffee fudge, is it?
The pink one.
No, we're on ice cream now, Mike. Keep up, keep up.
Salted caramel.
Salted caramel. That's the one I have. Salted caramel. I didn't know they did white chocolate. Oh my! Might have to go back and visit. But yeah, that's what it looks like. We always have a good time when we go there. So what else have I got in here? Whole range of. That's the table we sat at actually on Mother's Day. That's our table. So that's where we sat. What else have I got in here? Oh, there's the cakes again. Yes. Now you see on the left, there's a Twix cake. Graham's on his way. Thought you might be, Graham. It's fabulous. I'm telling you, it's fabulous. This one, they've got cakes on the top, but they've also got a Twix cake on the left at the bottom. Basically, it's like the taste of a Twix, caramelish, but with Twix on the top. So when they cut you a slice, they put a slice of Twix on it as well. Then there's a trifle. I don't eat that kind of stuff. To be honest, I'm gluten-free, so I don't eat much of that. Lemon sensation, coffee and walnuts, Bakewell slice. What was that thing you had, Mike? That big thing looked like a Swiss roll. But as it says there, death by chocolate is what it really is. And my mum used to love an elephant's foot, which is this one at the top there. It's like a big shoe thing. It's like a profiterole, but about 15 times the size. Thought you might. Now, you see, Graham, when you say you've had a cherry Bakewell, when we say we've had a cherry Bakewell, we mean a cherry Bakewell. It's the ice cream. Yeah, that trifle's about 5 foot tall. It is an amazing, amazing, amazing place. And it's not actually that expensive, for what you get. During the day, they do what's called cuppa and a cake. And it's a pot of tea or coffee and a slice of cake. And it's $4.99. Now, when you think of the price, you're going to be paying about $2.50 for a pot of tea anyway. Be rude not to have the cake, wouldn't it? That's how we look at it anyway. And as it says, all the cakes there were £4.25. So the tea ends up costing you 75p, which you can't say fairer than. I'm liking the look of that double cherry slice as well. What else have I got in here? Oh, that's the actual carvery. That's from the side where you actually take the whatever meats you want. There's usually between sort of 3 and 5 on. And all the rest of the food. But there's some... That's the big carvery. The carvery, you can see behind the Coke. Behind the Coke, there is a meal. And that meal is in a Yorkshire pudding. That's the size of the Yorkshire pudding. It's unbelievable. Exactly, Carl. Meals are absolutely fantastic. They really are. It's always been beautifully hot, beautifully fresh. Now, that's a platter to share, and I quite like the look of the chicken, but I don't eat a lot of the other stuff because I don't eat gluten. Yeah, you see, I'd end up with a salad, but unfortunately, she said, can't have the salad because look at that. There's some kind of bread stuff in it and I can't eat that. So sadly, I have to leave the salad alone. Not sad at all. Luckily, the cakes, I can have a little bit of the cakes because the bottom bit is the only bit that's gluten. So I'm all right with a little bit of the cakes. That's the new menu for the burgers. That's the cake you had. Was it a roulade? I know you've had that.
No, I didn't.
You had a slice of it, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I sent it back because it was too small. It was a barley farm. I don't know if you heard that.
Mike's got a story.
I was going to have the Twix roulade, but when they got it out, compared to the ones we got, it was too small, so I changed my mind. Told them to put it back in the fridge.
There's a funny story there about a piece of fish, but that's for another night, honestly. Oh, talking of which, there's the fish. But I don't eat that because I can't eat the bread, I don't eat the chips, and I don't eat battered sausage either. But I can say the fish is fantastic, which is about the only bit of that I would actually eat. I could eat that. I'm thinking of having that the next time we go. I could eat that. No bread on that at all. I'm not quite sure what they are. Graham, that's fantastic. Graham says, I've just had a measly Tesco fruit salad in a plastic pot. You feel swindled now, don't you, Graham? Swindled. We did promise cake, didn't we? And we did not disappoint. We did not. We had cake. When we say we're going to do something, we really do something. Right, okay then, let me get back into that. Now we've luxuriated over the cakes. So, that's what we're doing next week. Same time, same place. Not sure what we're doing the week after. We've got different dates, haven't we? Because There's things. But we'll definitely be here this time next week, so I hope you guys are going to be with us. Your task this week is to give us something to talk about. What do you want to know about? Oh, it's Good Friday the week after, that's right. So we'll be up to the armpits in Priest, probably. Oh, no, we're going live on Good Friday. I've just said we'll be up to our armpits in Priest, but clearly not. He usually has a service Good Friday night, but we've managed to escape that one. We'll sort him out earlier in the day and leg it, seeing as though we're doing his concert posters. We're very lucky. We are very lucky. I do think putting pineapple on that, it makes it cold, doesn't it? Put it on the side, if at all. But do you know what I find worse than that? And this might be sacrilege to some. Can't be doing with lemon on my fish. Put the lemon on the side, not on top. Yes, but not on top of my fish. I don't like soggy batter. If I'm having a fish, I need to enjoy it. I don't like soggy batter. You know, I don't like soggy batter, and I don't like the price of Dropbox. Battered or otherwise. I think that should be where we have a MacBites meetup.
Dropbox.
Well, you see, the AJ Bell's very close to the Apple Store at the Trafford Centre, but the food's shocking. Yeah. So we need to do a tour of the Northwest, I think, really. We could start off in... What is that place called in Preston? It's doing me head in now. It's a church place, and it's near the pub that's called the Flying Winger, I think. And I thought it was Goosenar, but now I don't think it's Goosenar. But there's a that shrine thing was there, and I can't remember what that was called. I think it's called the Flying Winger. Oh no, pizza! I've not had pizza in 25 years. The Phantom Winger, that's the one. Where is it? Give me a name. Is it the same place?
Preston.
Yes.
Broughton.
Where?
Broughton.
No, it's not called Broughton.
Garstang Road.
Oh, Garstang. No, that's not where it's called. Get it up on a map. Get it up on a map and try and find the church. Because it was definitely a church they buried my uncle in. It wasn't the pub. Let me see the area.
What's the church like?
No. Try Preston Shrine. Oh, it's going to annoy me until I can remember what it's called. No, I can't eat pizza. I did used to eat pizza. No, not Ladywell. Or it could be Ladywell Art. Is it Ladywell? What's the address?
Let's just search for Ladywell Shrine. Preston Shrine.
Yeah. Well, what's the address of it? What's the town or village?
It just says Preston.
Oh, for crying out loud! Get it up on a map. I'm going to be so annoyed if I can't remember the name of this. Great Eccleston. Oh, that actually sounds familiar, Carl. It does. But I thought it was one word. That's definitely the one. What's the town that's in? Or village?
It's not. It's next to the Preston bypass. Fullwood.
No. I'm going to have to look this up. It's driving me insane. Never mind. Yeah, well, we'll start up there and work down to Altrincham, I think. That'll work.
Yeah.
It would be nice to finish it off at that Italian with the meatballs, but there's no way if I've eaten anything else I'm going to eat those meatballs, which are also to die for. We're very lucky round here, we are. Well, now you know the fun we have when we go out and the cake that we had for our anniversary. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. It wouldn't be the same without you guys.
It wouldn't.
We do have such a good time with you. You are family to us. You are, as I said to Jonathan this week.
Are we going to get something to eat?
Guess what? We're going to head off and get something to eat.
Yes, fruit salad.
Sadly. No, not in a pot. No, I want mine in a bowl. But I feel like Graham. I feel swindled now I've watched the cake. We're going to go off and have something to eat, but sadly, all the cake's gone. But as you saw, I did duly video it for you. I said I would, and I did. And the audio from Keynote worked. Oh, I'm getting better with this technology malarkey. I just need more cloud services and my stuff working now. But I'm going to do the impossible and transfer files into Scrivener and share with you guys how I actually did that when I get round to doing it. Dropbox, you are almost dead to me when I can get something else that actually works. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Excellent. Right, okay then. So don't forget your one task this week. What was your one task this week? To let us know what you want to see in the show. Carl's already done that. Graham did that. The lady that wrote to me did that. Now, I don't think she actually watches After Hours, but she will do when I send her the video to say this is where it was and this is where I talked all about it. trying to think if anybody else has. I don't think you have, you naughty people. So get in touch. Get in touch. Thank you very much, Carl. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jonathan. And you all came on with good wishes before we'd even started, which is much appreciated. Thank you very, very much. So I'm going to have something to eat. I'm going to make do with fruit salad. But I do want it in a bowl. I agree with Graham, though. You see these things, you think, oh, that looks nice. And it's in a little plastic pot. And you tear the little plastic lid off. The thing's the size of a thumbnail.
I know, it costs you about £2.
It costs you about £2.90, and then you open it and there's a little plastic spoon in it and about half a mouthful of food, and then you see that cake and think,
and a load of juice.
what? Oh, I can't be doing with juice on my fruit salad.
No.
I don't have juice, so I can't be doing with it in my fruit salad. No, I like fresh fruit.
Yeah.
I've decided now to stop asking for fresh fruit salad, because what I end up with is like half a carton of orange juice with a grape floating in it. So I'm not asking for fruit salad anymore. I might as well just eat the cake and be done with it. That's the plan anyway. So we're going to hair off and have something to eat. We will be back with you guys, same time, same place next week. And who knows?
We might have cake.
We might have cake. Oh, live cake. Yeah. Oh, yes, we might have cake for the good reason that it's Easter. And they've got limited edition cake on that Mike's definitely going to need to try before it disappears forever. It involves a cream egg. So I'll leave you with that thought of a cake that involves a cream egg. And we will see you next time. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from the cake.
And we'll both see you next time. Good night, guys. Bye-bye.